Howdy folks, and welcome to the Hillbilly Kitchen. Today we're making my version of Swedish meatballs. Now this is my family's favorite and most requested party food. It does not matter if we're celebrating a birthday, having a baby shower, having a wedding, having a holiday party, a Super Bowl party, whatever. If we're getting together and we're celebrating something, they have to have these meatballs. Now, you can certainly start with your own homemade meatballs, but when you're planning a party and you're making the food yourself, frozen meatballs will save you a ton of time and they will save you a ton of money. These were $8 and there's 9 servings in this bag according to the bag. These also make a really good weeknight dinner quick. You can cook them on the stovetop if you're doing them for dinner and have them ready in less than 20 minutes and have dinner on the table. But because it's our favorite party food, I usually make it in a crock pot. And your Instant Pots have a crock pot setting on them. So if you're doing your own party food, drag out your crock pots, your Instant Pots, all that stuff, because if you're doing your own food, you have to have a way to keep hot stuff hot. So I'm going to make it in my Instant Pot today. Your crock pot, you do the same way. You want to put your meatballs in. Now, if you're doing your homemade ones, that's fine. Here's another little tip for parties or if you're doing it for dinner. I get the smaller meatballs. And if I'm making them homemade, I make the smaller meatballs. Because people eat, they count what they eat. So, you know, they might eat 4 meatballs every time you have a party, or they might eat 6 meatballs. If you're doing the great big meatballs, you're not going to get very many servings out of a pack or your homemade meatballs. If you do them smaller, people will eat 4 or 6 and they'll be done. So at 4 or 6, there's probably more than 9 servings. But anyway, we're putting our meatballs in our pot. We are going to do a cup of sour cream. Now I don't use any soup because Alex is allergic to mushrooms. And all the condensed soups have mushrooms in them. There's a lot of condensed soup versions. I don't do that. I do the cup of sour cream and a cup of heavy cream. And that makes my sauce. If you like mushrooms, you can certainly put some mushrooms in. But like I said, she has a mushroom allergy, so I never do mushrooms in mine. And just dump in that sour cream. And we're going to do a cup of heavy cream. Because we're not using the soup, I do recommend heavy cream. If you don't have heavy cream or you want to cut the fat, you can use whole milk. But they're better with the cream. It makes the sauce much richer. Now the only other thing we need is a little bit of something to season it with. And I use Worcestershire sauce, onion powder, salt, and pepper. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy, nothing unusual. If you want something different in yours, put it in. Because you could put about anything in these and they would be good. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of the Worcestershire sauce. The salt and the pepper and stuff, I'll adjust it later and start with about 1.5 tablespoons of onion powder. Onion powder is good and it's not easy to overdo onion powder. Garlic powder, on the other hand, you can overdo it real quick, like red pepper. And a few red pepper flakes in these would be good. Because my meatballs are pre-cooked, and yours are going to be even if you do homemade meatballs before you start the sauce, and you could actually just make the sauce in a pot and then pour it over your homemade meatballs while they were still hot. I'm not going to do a whole lot of salt in this. And you could even leave it out if you want to, but I'm going to do just about 1/2 teaspoon. And I'm not going to try to put it in that because I'll miss it and make a mess. Just about 1/2 teaspoon. And I'm going to do about 1.5 teaspoons of pepper. Not quite that much. About like that. You put in as much as you want. And like I said, like 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes would be good in it too. And all we're going to do is get these hot. Now, they're pre-cooked. Once it gets hot, it's ready to eat. You can serve it, if you're doing it for dinner, over some pasta or rice or potatoes or just whatever. For parties, we would have these and little smokies and do some of the little ham and cheese pinwheels on the tortillas. Those are pretty much every party foods. Maybe do some fried chicken, some chicken fingers or something. But you can do your own party, save a ton of money. Everybody have plenty to eat. We had a karate school in town for over 10 years. And there's nothing in this town for kids to do. So when our kids were growing up and we were running the karate school, every single holiday, it didn't matter what it was. We had a big party at the karate school because we had a big open floor and everybody in town was invited. You could come, you didn't have to take karate there, and you didn't have to pay anything. We just let people come in and eat and party, dance, play games, whatever. And it was something to do on those holidays when most people go do something in a town where there's nothing to do. And every time one of the kids had a birthday, we would have a big party and celebrate their birthday there and stuff. And we always had these along with other food. But we never had much money. I don't know if there's anybody watching this who runs a karate school in a small town or not, but you're not going to get rich running a karate school in a small town. So this is a pretty cheap way to feed a lot of people. Now, at most of our big parties, I would do at least 2 bags of meatballs and double all this because we would have sometimes 200 people show up. But like I said, this is with the sour cream and the cream. I might have $11, $12 in it, probably $12 in the whole thing. I think I got the sour cream for 88 cents, the big thing. You just got to watch for stuff on sale. But the cream, I've got at least $1 in it. The meatballs were like $8. So for $10, $12, you can feed a lot of people. And this is already starting to get hot. I don't think my meatballs are hot all the way through. But for parties, all you want to do in your crock pot or your Instant Pot is just turn it on, keep warm. And your guests can come by and nibble and graze, and everybody will stay full. Nobody will get hungry and be angry and all that stuff. And it makes your parties much more fun. And you can relax once you get everything set up and just hit that keep warm. You know, you can enjoy the party too, even though you catered it yourself. So it's not hard to make party food, save yourself some money, and still enjoy your party. Now, the sauce will thicken as this cooks. So if you're making them, you know, for dinner through the week, you do want to let the sauce simmer for just a minute and thicken up, because that's what makes it good. And if you're serving them at a party, of course, you'll have your crock pot or your Instant Pot turned on keep warm, and it'll sit there and thicken. And we've had some really long parties before where I had to add a little extra milk to them. And I keep milk to add if I'm having a long party, and if they start to get too thick or start to dry out, I'll just add a little milk to them. But this is so easy. That's literally all there is to it. Like I said, you can have dinner on the table if you want to make them for dinner, and that bag will serve a family of 4 twice. So you're not going to get much better of a deal than that. You know, some pasta that you got on sale, and $7 you can feed your family a meal. These are starting to bubble, so I'm going to hit keep warm on this because that's all I want to do. And they can sit there all night long if you're doing a Super Bowl party or a New Year's Eve party or having a wedding reception. Like I said, we have served these at more than one family wedding. Well, I guess whenever you're watching this, you will know that I'm recording it very close to Valentine's Day because I don't normally have up Valentine's stuff all over my kitchen. And this is 2024, so if you're watching it sometime in the future, this message is for 2024. February 14th, 2024 is a very special date for the Hillbilly Kitchen. And we're going to be doing a live stream, and we want all of you, or as many of you as possible, to join us. And I know lots of folks have plans on Valentine's Day, but if you don't, please mark your calendar and join us on Valentine's Day for our special live stream. Like I said, it's a very special day for us. And we have a poll on our community page where you can go vote for what time would be best for you, and we'll stream it at the time when most people can be there. So go to our community page, check that out. Make sure you remember February 14th, 2024, special live stream. And before we go, I want to share John 14:15 with you. If you love me, keep my commandments. You know, there's lots of folks who say that, you know, the 10 Commandments are Old Testament and we're living in the New Testament. But Jesus said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. That means that we are supposed to behave ourselves. Try to, at least. The world should see a difference in the way that we live. They should see Jesus in us. And if we love Jesus, we should try to keep his commandments and be good. And I know we're not going to be able to, but being saved doesn't mean you can live however you want and then just say, Lord, forgive me, and it's all right, because Jesus said, keep my commandments if you love me. So at least try. And remember the great commandment to love one another as he loved us. I want to thank you so much for joining us, the Hillbilly Kitchen. If you haven't already, please don't forget to click like and subscribe. And share our videos with your friends. Until next time, remember to put God first.